Good Sunday morning. It's February 2nd. Welcome to Norwal Farm. Michael Walsh and Roger Norgel here. If you haven't, please subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to be alerted of any new videos. And if you would, please give us a like on this video and share this with a friend and leave us a comment. That's number 13 right here. Her due date was yesterday. I have a sneaky feeling she may lamb later this afternoon or this evening. She was kind of hanging out by herself this morning. She did come up and eat this morning, but she just hollowed out right there. You can see that dark area. And generally, when the lamb drops to get into position, they hollow out in front of the hips there. It's hard to see her udder development. She's got a lot of wool under there. But if I look at the right angle, I can see her nipples. Like you see this sheep here, it's nice and round here. There's no hollowing. With her, there is a definite hollowing right there. I'm thinking she's going to have one. We'll see. But I can see her udder behind there. There's a lot of wool right there. But if I look at this angle, I can see her nipple. So we'll just keep an eye on her. Normally they all sleep over here, and this morning she was over there, and then she moved down to here, and she laid down and changed position a couple times. This was all before I fed them. So like I said, she did eat this morning, ate her grain, but she always laid with these sheep here, and she's not doing that today. And she just kind of stares at her side or stares off into the distance. It's real quiet. So I think she's in the very early stage of labor. So we'll keep an eye on her today and follow her progress. First morning after moving the ewes and lambs down here, and as you can see, the lambs are in the creep area. So that's good. I'll fashion a feed manger for them for grain and get that set up today. These are the lids that were left over from 10-gallon garbage pails that we use to make the brooders. So I'm going to fashion just a little feed trough for them. We'll bend it across here so that it's at a right angle. Drill a couple of holes to hang it on the gate down there. And just starting out, they don't need a lot of grain there, just enough to nibble on. And then once they get going, and we get more lambs, we'll have to get a more substantial trough, but that's something I have now, and we'll use it, make sure it works. Bent that pan lid. You can see it's pretty much at a 90 degree. And then it's got this little lip here, which will hold the grain in. I'll take a pair of pliers and bend this up a little bit right here, and maybe straighten this out a bit. And then we'll throw 2 sets of holes, and we'll just wire that to the gate, and that should work for what we need. Brought down fresh hay for the ewes. They had eaten down quite a bit of what we had, and you can see, you bring the fresh hay down, they really get into it. And with your lactating ewes, and the late pregnancy ewes, you never want them to go hungry. You want them to eat as much as they can. See this little lamb here? They may climb in that hay manger, and that's okay. But he's about a week old. And he's nibbling on the hay. So that's when they start. And we're going to put the grain feeder over on that gate in there and just put just a little bit of grain for them to nibble on. Get them started. I'll start out with the ewe ration. It's about 16% protein. Creep feed, you boost that up to about 18%. And we'll get some of that made up here in another week or so. I have to order a minimum of 500 pounds, which we will need that much, but we won't use that much right away. But we'll get that ordered and get them started on that ration then. Lambs are very curious. It's either if they're kind of nibbling on their mom's hay. So they've got their own supply over there. I just wired this to the gate here. And it's just the right height for them. And they're curious enough. There was already one lamb in there snooping around this makeshift feeder. So we just put a taste in there for them. They're not going to eat a lot. And once they start cleaning that up, we'll gradually give them more. And we'll have to find a more more substantial trough, but this is good enough to get them started. Yesterday when we put this water tank out, I should have addressed it then, because you know what I say about goats. If you think they won't, they will, and so you better address it then. And if there's a hole, they'll find it. So came down this morning, and the sheep might have done it because you can see the teeth marks on the plastic right there. Maybe one of the dogs did, I don't know. But anyway, this floating water heater was out here on the ground, and the GFI had popped. So this tank heater and the other tank heater had a little skim of ice on them. So we're going to put a little protective cover over that. I should have done it yesterday, but what you don't do one day, you'll end up doing another day. So we'll get that done. Keeping that one rule in mind, if you think they won't, they will. We have all these points of this wire sticking out. And when I have fixed that, we're going to wire it there. A sheep is going to poke its mouth or get pushed into that or that and get injured. So we'll take the bolt cutters and we'll just snip this off square, because that's just an injury waiting to happen. Got that in place. There's a little wire here. There's one there and one right there. So that's in place. It's not going anywhere. That'll keep the float in. They may try to play with that cord. I don't know. I don't think so. It was just a novelty yesterday, so hopefully they leave it alone. And it goes behind here and up here, so they shouldn't be able to pull that down. So we'll give that a try, and hopefully we don't have to do anything more to it. The lambs are up there checking out the water tank. They drank a little bit. It's different, and sheep are creatures of habit. They notice different things, but they can drink from the end along the side. So I think that's going to work. We'll see if they bother that cord at all, but that's about maybe 15 minutes after I put it up. So that's encouraging. Another adjustment we have to make today. We put this up yesterday because the lambs crawled through, which that's working, but there's no way to climb over the gate here. So this is a shorter panel. I'm going to set it on the inside. That way I can climb up the rungs on this side and down the rungs on that side. So we're going to do that and see if that fixes that problem. Put that short panel on the other side so I can step on the gate here, and then on the other side we can step on the gate there. So that should work. I don't think that's big enough for them to get through there. Be a very tight squeeze, and I think visually they won't be able to see that because they're going to have a solid visual barrier. So hopefully this works. We'll see. If not, we'll adjust it later. An important part of taking care of any livestock or any animals is observation, and you always look for everything. And you can see that yellow stool right there on the ground. That's a milk stool. That's what it should look like, nice and solid. It shouldn't be runny at all. If they have runny stool, then that can be a sign of either bacterial infection or possibly coccidiosis, which is a parasite. So you want the stools to be like that, and they'll be yellow like that as long as they're on milk. Once they start eating hay and grain, which you can see the lambs are up there exploring, and they're at the mineral feeder too. But once they start eating that, then their stools will turn more like the adult sheep, and actually they'll eventually develop the black pellets. We put this little piece of plywood down there at the bottom because depending on the wind direction, it can come through there and just kind of go out that way. So you want to block drafts, and you can see they've found the spot. They like laying there. If you look closely, you can see the hay hanging on the gate, how it's just kind of waving in the gentle breeze here. So that would actually be a draft for the lambs. And you can see below there that one lamb's sound asleep on the other one. So they're out of the draft, and that's what we want. And then the other spot they're going to is in actually the lamb creep, and at the end of the hay feeder. That's all blocked off, and 3 of them were laying in there this morning too. So this is a good spot for them. Temperatures are good. They can withstand the temperatures they're going to be at. So, but you can see they're all just laying right down there, and they're below that board, so there's no draft on them. Goats are very inquisitive and love to climb, so you have much happier goats if you give them something to play on. And when the kids are first born, we put in like a jumping box or whatever. And I know some sheep farms do that. Utopia farms in Canada, they do, because the lambs, it breaks up their boredom, gives them something to do, makes just for happier animals. So these goats have just been climbing this pile all the time. And you can see some of the lighter brown areas. That's where they've stripped the bark off the trees. And they're browsers, and they will eat the bark. If you have them out a lot with younger trees, they'll actually girdle the tree and kill it. So you have to be careful when you turn them out. If you want to save trees, you have to protect the trees. But just an interesting observation. They love to climb that pile, and you can see that black goat on top. She's eating some bark there. And from rooting in the pile, the bridge of their nose is right above the nostrils. You can see a little worn area, that white nanny right here. You can kind of see it on her because they were out there at one point. And that's just from reaching in between the branches there to get to the bark. So first I thought I had ringworm or something, then I realized it was just friction rubbing the hair off from them reaching in between the branches. 8:30 on Sunday night, February the 2nd, and number 13 had her lamb. I haven't even checked it yet. I think she only has a single. Like I say, we just got out here, and everything went well. We got to watch it all on camera. She was 1 day overdue, and I looked at her record from last year, and she went 2 days over. So that must be her pattern for her gestation period. So thanks again for joining us at Norwal Farm, and we'll see you next time.